Hello, all my fellow simmers out there. This is Seaweed from Tribal Soup Project, and welcome to another episode of SIMsational. If you've been watching, then you already know that this is the building how-to series. We've already gone over the bare basics of buildings, the before you build tips, and the building cheat codes. And today we will be going over raising the walls with a focus on trying to commit to create a three-dimensional effect. Honestly, as with everything in life, whether you're learning to play a new musical instrument or building SIMsational sim structures, the only way to truly fine-tune your abilities is to reach within and invoke your inner tenacious self, meaning practice, practice, practice. But it is my hope that you'll use these videos as to kind of get a glimpse of perspective from a fellow builder such as myself. I don't by any means claim to be an expert, and I'm constantly learning new things myself. So do feel free to add any comments or suggestions of your own below. And with that said, we'll go ahead and get started. As the title says, we're going to focus on placing walls and making our first initial rough outline of the structure. Then moving forward with future episodes, we'll be covering the other building tools by adding on to this structure that we're going to build, so that at the very end of this series, it'll leave us with a fully completed house inside and out. So like I had said, today I'm going to focus on placing walls as well as porches to try and kind of focus on getting a three-dimensional look to your structure. If you have never ever used the building tools and you don't even know how to place walls, you might want to go ahead and watch the first episode of this series, and I'll list that for you in the description below. Now, depending on what kind of structure I'm building and whether or not I want it to be completely symmetrical to the center of the lot, it's of course going to be helpful to know where the center of your lot easily. In order to do that, I usually just draw a line out to the center. This lot that I'm building on today is a 40 by 30 lot, and I know that I want my front door placed on the 40 spaced side. So that means there are going to be 20 spaces from the edge to the exact center. What I do is I go ahead and I select my freehand wall drawing tool, and you can't draw a wall on the exact outside of the perimeter. You have to go one space in. So that means the center of my lot from my starting point is going to be 19 spaces in. A good tip for knowing, especially when you're doing something like this, when you draw walls on, the game will give you a clicking sound to let you know how many spaces in you've gone. So beginning here, so that is the exact center. I don't like to have this long wall here because it takes up too much room. I usually just go ahead and draw a vertical line, and then I get rid of this wall. An easy way to get rid of the wall, you could either use the sledgehammer tool, or you could just select your wall drawing tool, and when you hold control down on your keyboard, you will see that there's a little X in the corner up there, and that means that it's going to delete whatever you're drawing on. So I hit control, and I just go ahead and get rid of the wall. Like I had said in an earlier episode, it's important to have a clear picture of what you want to do in your head before beginning to build, which I do. I don't really care about the house being 100% symmetrical with this, so I don't really need this line, and I can just go ahead and get rid of this wall. It's important to keep your mind that you don't want your structure to look flat and two-dimensional. And my first tip in regards to this is to kind of stray away from drawing long, flat walls. If you create little grooves and draw angles with your walls, it'll help give the structure that three-dimensional look that you really want. And when I say that, I mean like little grooves and angles. I mean, you draw a wall here, then come up here, Leave an indent there like that, or you could go on the diagonal to kind of give it this kind of a look here. Whenever you do this, that is one way to help with the three-dimensional look. So I'm going to go ahead and speed through drawing the first floor, and then I'll be back with my next tip on here. All right, I have got the entire outline of my first floor drawn, and I think it looks pretty darn snazzy. My next tip for creating a three-dimensional look using walls is to not draw your second or third floors directly above your first floor. When you leave spaces for balconies or a space where you could put a half-gabled or half-hipped roof over a portion of your first floor, it'll really help you create that three-dimensional effect. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and draw the second floor and maybe a small third floor, and then I'll be back with my next tip. Now that I've got all my walls placed and the entire outline of my house has been created, I can go ahead and start thinking about the porches. First, actually, I think I want to change the height of these walls because I like a really big wall. Okay, I think what I want to do here is I'm going to have the entire front section be kind of a covered porch. The way you do this is simply by adding some arches along the entire line here. But first I'm going to need to place a back wall, so it is actually a porch. Just so you know, a tip, if you come down to the level you're actually working on, you won't have an issue with the floating camera. Otherwise, sometimes you do, and it can be hard to do what you want with the camera floating around everywhere. So I'm down here on my first floor, and I'm going to put my walls all the way down so I can see what I'm doing. And I am just going to go ahead and draw a wall along the back here like this. Oops. Like that. Just like that. And now I can bring my walls back up and I can pick out my arches. I think I'm going to go with this one right here. Because this is a two-spaced size archway, I'm not going to put them here because, as you can see, it's going to look kind of funky with the space on the side, and obviously it won't fit somewhere like that. It will only because I have my Move Objects cheat on, but if I turn that off, then it won't place on that kind of thing. So those there, and then one over here, and then I'm going to pick out a smaller arch for the other spaces, which I didn't get. Just like that. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, now that I've got that created, I can come over here and start thinking about the back. The end result I have in mind for this is to create a large deck, which is only partially covered by a roof that's going to extend out. This actually brings me to my next tip in creating a three-dimensional look using walls, is to create columns using the actual wall tool. The reason this adds so much to the three-dimensional look is because even just one wall space is about twice as large as an actual column, so it'll really add to the overall look of the structure. Let's see, because I'm going to have my deck only partially covered, I think right here, I'm going to go ahead and place 2 wall columns. So I think one right here and then one over here. That's good. Okay, now that I've got that done, I can go ahead and place the porch itself by coming down here to this. Let's see where I want to start it. I think actually I'm gonna start it maybe right here. Yeah, I think right here is good. Okay, I'm going to place right there. I'm going to pull this out to here. Over, back, out. It's easier for me to use this triangle right here, and then I can just drag back out evenly. There we go. Oops. Come out over here too, like that. Okay, that looks good, I think. All right, now that I've got my porch all placed, I can go ahead and start thinking about the stairs that I want to use. Before I can place those stairs, obviously, I've got to come over here to the foundation and raise the foundation. I think that's a good height. It doesn't have to be, well, maybe a little bit bigger. Yeah, like that. Okay. And now looking at this, I think I need to move this back a space because I don't believe the stairs are going to fit right there. Nope, they're not going to fit there. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to move the entire structure back by using the Move House tool. That, and I think I should be okay if I move just one space back. Let's see what I'm doing. There we go. Right there. Perfect. All right. Now I can go ahead and add my stairs. Gonna leave that little lip on the outside there. That looks good. Then I'm gonna come over here and I am gonna place a stairway all along this edge, I think. Like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So those are my tips for raising the walls. I think it's starting to come together really nicely. It may not look like a whole lot right now, but I promise you that this is the beginning of a really awesome structure. I hope that you learned something from this video, and I hope you'll look forward to joining me for our next episode where we'll cover working with all different types of roofs and putting a roof on this structure here. So until then, please check out all of my other stuff linked in the description below. Subscribe, leave a comment, etc., etc., etc. Catch you next time. Bye.